Ah! Wednesday's going to have a smooth start. And anybody that tunes in is going to be like, what the hell is going on? This show makes sense today. Yeah. Okay, so here's... All right, here's my magical question for today. Okay, so I'm working on the next image for the page. Yeah, we're in the process of drawing this village haunted. And after that, like I intend on putting it out as a book, but by the time I'm going to be done, I think it's probably going to be like Christmas. And who wants to put out a Halloween book at Christmas? So, we'll see. We'll see. I think I might release it in the new year. I'm not sure. But in the interim, I'm really having a good time drawing it, and it's really pushing me creatively. And I think it may well be the best thing I've done. So, right? What do you think, Ralph? Hey, it's a great idea, man. It's good stuff. Oh, boy. Poor Phil. I hope your phone fixes, or your data fixes, or I'm sorry, your internet fixes. Jeez Louise. So that you don't have to use all the data up in your phone, Phil. That's rough stuff. That's no fun. But don't get too caught up in all of that stuff. Don't get. It'll all come together. It's all going to happen. Positive thinking, because tonight's show is going to be fantastically fun. If it doesn't come in, right, until X o'clock before the show starts, that's okay. That's still okay, because the magic happens when your broadcast begins for Halloween. You're going to start drawing some saucy things. So I'm leaving it open for anybody that comes on today. If you want me to continue working on a Village Haunted, hey, I'll do so. If you want me to stop and draw some scary stuff because it's Halloween, I will do so. But I think I'll just be working directly in ink today because, hey, I'm nutty. And I got all these colors. There's some blue. Blue might be getting too crystallized. I'm going to have to add some secret sauce to this sucker. Is it still got something to it? The hell can I put in my... Oh, yeah. There's still lots of ink in there. Just not for dipping and drawing. That's not good. Because I likes to dip in. Oh, here. What do we got? This is a lavender. Oh, that sounds spicy. I'll have to get some fresh water for this, I think. I don't know if anybody else finds this, but when these lids start getting dried on, boy, are they a tough thing to get off. Hey, lots of lavender. That's a nice seal on that sucker. Okay, well, so yeah, I'll do some ink drawing if people ask. So, the interim, so I was listening to the song How Soon Is Now by the Smiths. I was never really a Smith guy when I was a kid. And they were in their moment when I was a young fella. Because I felt, I don't know, it's just some of their songs, like the big hit How Soon Is Now, to me, it just went the hell on forever. So, I don't know. Just didn't dial into them like some other people did. All right, so one of the things I've had to figure out in the course of drawing this page is you can look at reference material for how a car is, or how a person standing behind the car is, or how a front porch is or whatever the case is. But when you're going to draw your thing, if you're heavily reliant on reference material, it's just going to come off as cold and static. Whereas when you start to figure out your characters in context of the environment around them, and when you start to figure out things like, how do I draw, the lead character coming down a staircase, or how do I draw her getting into the car? Well, one of the two leads. And so reference doesn't always, you can't just rely on it purely as its own thing. You can't just stick with it. And if you're going to do so, you're going to find yourself really sort of pigeonholed into, you're just regurgitating a drawing. So, better not to do that. So one of the things that I try not to do is really get too caught up in reference, because I think that it's just not going to work. It's just not going to give us all of the information that we want, that the information that we need for the story that we're trying to tell. So I try to think of things like, if I've got the girl in the front seat talking to her friend in the back seat, I want to think about, and there's a couple things I've had to think about already, because the image that I have for reference for the car is on the wrong angle. I have to really think about the shape of the car and the confines of the car. So in the course of doing so, I'm more and more informed in my head about the vehicle itself. It's a two-door car, so therefore, if you're old enough to remember this, you used to have to push down the front seat so that you could get into the back. I don't know if they have a lot of cars like this today, but none that I fit in. That sort of gives me most cars that are out there right now. Okay, so right now I'm drawing Joanne. And it's Joanne's house that we went to for dinner. And she's sitting in the front seat while... Nope, sorry, names are backwards. Joanne is the girl in the back seat, and Samantha is the girl in the front seat. So Samantha is in the front seat besides her dad, who's driving. Yeah, see, I put this little clavicle shadow in there thinking I'm getting creative here. But all that does is mess up my lip line. Stick to what you know, folks. No, I don't believe that. Challenge yourself at all times. Some people take different amounts of times on drawings. It's all about what you're comfortable with. But always pursue what it is that you're after, and what I'm after is storytelling. So, okay, so I've got I had a really dark lip on Joanne, and it just doesn't suit her compared to, there we go. So for chin sticks out here. So these 70s photos that I initially used for drawing the girls, tend to have a more natural look to them. And so I don't know why, but I have a tendency to try to, draw female characters with bigger, rounder eyes, kind of. So you got to break that habit right away. Just draw them normal eyes. So here is her talking to her friend in the back seat. Well, I hope Phil gets his internet stuff sorted out. Phil was going to join us for a show. on the show. Corbin's here. Better get the camera on you, Corbin, here. Ready? Come on. Let's say hi to everybody. Hi, my name is Corbin. I like to join Dad in the studio and be a pain in the butt. Right? That's Corbin's Halloween costume, by the way. He's dressed as a cat. What is he normally? Oh my God. Okay, so as I'm drawing in this young lady, I'm trying to figure out, making sure that I keep her consistent with, the previous pages, right? Now, it's tricky because I started to draw her hair that flares out more at the top, whereas I sort of started this dialogue where Joanne's hair is less, it's flatter. It's not as flared up as Samantha's hair is not as flared up as Joanne's. The brunette is not flared up. So, you want to keep that consistent. Raise that hairline a little bit. There we go. Okay, so she looks back to her friend and says, hey. And then you want to have her sort of in a kind of awkward clearly reaching around, like we're leaning around to talk to her friend in the back seat. And that really sells when you put the environment around her and draw the inner confines of the car. And this is where I start talking about these sort of planes of the body. We know that the shoulder has this raised mass. So I'm drawing in this fun shape and putting some texture out into it just to push that space back. What I really need to do here first is, let me do this. Now, in the front seat of old cars, a lot of them used to be one flat, kind of like when you get into a cab today. A lot of old seats were just one seating area at the front. And then I'm trying to think of what they were called. Bucket seats is what we call individual seats. But I'm trying to think of what they were. Bar seat, I don't know. Bench seats, who knows? I miss them. They were the best. But unfortunately, maybe it was a safety thing. I'm not entirely sure what it was, but okay, so now I've got her in the environment. I want to actually round this right here. Round her off there. And of course, her hair is here, and then comes down her back. So just draw that in. And just move that down. There we go. Well, this eraser is nearly kaput already, but so be it. Okay, so there is Samantha in the front seat. Now we got the front seat started to be drawn in. Let's put some seams into the because the seams let us break up our shadows. There we go. So now what I need to do is think about the inner space of the car and realize that it's got this long front window and back window. So now I don't have a picture of the inside of one of these cars, but there we go. Nice round lip to it. So I think my angle's wrong on it. I'm going to switch that. There we go. And then we're going to pull this line up here. There we go. Nice dark line there. And then we'll put the trim line on the window. Yeah, see, that's coming together, huh? Doesn't have to be exact. There we go. So we've got our now I've drawn the lines connecting to the back of our head. I'm going to change that. I'll pull those lines back a little bit. Just because, again, I'm going to bump her up into the foreground a little bit. If anybody that watches this is looking for something super fun, I believe Phil is going to be doing a big old podcast tonight for Halloween. A very exciting prospect, that. Now, again, purists are going to be mad at me because I don't know what the interior of the dash of one of these cars is. But I'm just going to see what I can figure out here. Challenge in anything like this is that what's the focus? Is the focus on absolute referential accuracy of, you know, the every bits and bob of the environment that you're drawing, or is the focus on the storytelling? Right? So I'm going to draw I might have to change that angle. No. Because what I'm drawing here, again, is I'm making this up as I go. So he says, those cars never had, you know, screens for the sunlight. Oh, fun. Mine does. So we're drawing along with the contour of the roof. So, yeah, maybe this is the answer here. Well, basically, I hope I've approximated. I hope I've approximated what the inside of the car looks like. Okay, so there we go for that. And there's a roof of the car, and so we've got some little shapes and details for how some of the interior of the car might go. And again, it's just a case of I'm guesstimating, but I'm trying to remember how cars go together, how shapes go together, and think about that. Like here's something to think about. This car has got to have right here a circle with another thing that bar that comes off of it in the background, and the whole reason is that windshields, or I'm sorry, windows, like side windows on a car, had to be manually wound up. So, you know, it's a small feature, but it's a feature, right? And then, of course, the handle would have been down here below that and by that. But we want to push this section back a little more. So I'm going to do this. And put a shadow line in here. There we go. And then we'll put the glove box here. So we still haven't actually drawn in the background. I'm putting a lot of value in the foreground. I still haven't actually drawn the background outside. Okay, so there's the glove box. Happy, happy, happy. So there's that quick little line. And then we'll do some rounded marks on top of the back, on top of the front seat. I'm so sorry. Darken up that line. Now we could draw. I could have drawn what's her name's head in the foreground. So I think what I'll do is be cheeky. I'm going to draw her hair. Like this, and then her shoulders. Is it ideal? No. But I want a rough idea that that's where Joanne is sitting. I don't know what this crazy shape on the shoulder is. Okay. Well, I hope that Phil is able to get his internet stuff sorted out for tonight, because his plan is to have a nice Halloween show that I think everybody will really enjoy. So look up Phil Chandler Arts tonight and take a look. He's going to do some drawing, I think, and we may have some guests on. Either way, it should be super fun. They've been doing an awful lot of internet stuff around my house here in London, Ontario, Canada. And boy, it was causing me just haywire actions and activities. Messing around with interwebs and Zoom calls and the internets. And boy, oh boy. Okay, so I put this large shadow area in the foreground. Now I'm going to fill that in with black, but I'm not going to do it now because it'll get all smudgy. First, we're going to draw the outside. And the outside through the front view, we know, is the garage of the house. And so what I'm going to do is put some shapes in here and then warp them a little bit. So they're there, but they're not really. Just mess with them. Just bend them a little bit so it just seems a little bit off. I don't know. Why not? Just for skids. And then over here we'll have some background tree shape, etc. Doesn't really matter. Text is going to go over top of that area. But we want to have something there in case anybody gets overly scrutinizing. No reason to leave it empty. And then we'll just continue the shadow that we know because of the previous image that we supplied. There's a hedge that runs along here. And so when we're coloring it, we can color that hedge in around her hair green. Take that line out, because that's where the connecting line is for the automobile. Now, let's separate this up a little bit. And next, we're going to have Dad get in a car. Make a dad joke. Now, theoretically, were this a movie, anytime you have these little pauses with these different characters interacting, I was really scared by that. Oh, no. Ideally, that's the point where you do the scare. So in this case, it'd be like the two girls. That freaked me out. My dad was being ridiculous. You know, and that's where Dad jumps in the car and says, "Ghost incoming." She's clearly not a ghost. That's why he's a dad. Bad jokes. Dear big moon, I saw you. So there's that panel there. So again, it's like I say, the most I had for reference on this one is the picture of the car. The picture of the car being erroneous as it wasn't much help. So a lot of this was just thinking about shapes and remembering how things go together. We just lost a fantastic artist who had a prodigious memory for lots of practice of drawing anything he could think of. And that's a sad loss. I'm referring to Junji Ito. It wasn't as much the fact that he could remember drawing all these things, many of them culturally relevant, but it was that he could do it in any perspective he can imagine. Not easy to do. Fortunately, I have had a bunch of things to draw this weekend that required my time. And I couldn't get ahead on this project in the way that I wanted to. So forgive me that. But here we are now. First panel done. So now I want to draw Dad. I think Dad getting in the car is what I said it was next. All right. Yeah, great. Okay, so Yeah, I hope everybody has a good Halloween this year. Nice and safe and healthy and sound and all of that jazz. So, boom, 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 boom. All right. So I want to look back at the previous page and see what Dad looked like. Yeah. Tell me. So Dad's got. All right. So he took a moment to get in the car because a call came in from his employer. So that'll be the speech that Dad's having. But first, he's going to say something silly. Then he's going to get into the car. And then I got to put his glasses on still, but it doesn't mean I don't. What's going on underneath where the glasses are. Take me to the river. Drop me in the water. So I've drawn Dad with some boom, 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 boom. So shadows in the car are going to affect Dad's face a little bit, but let's get in the structure of his. Okay, so I'm going to tilt this drawing just a little bit. I want to make sure I get the. Boom, 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 boom. So we're going to have him tell the girls that we've got to make a little detour, ladies, because I got a call from my boss. And that way, we know for a fact that we're keeping our connections going together on how our plot points are developing in the story. So what I'm doing right now, sorry, let me show you. I apologize. So I'm checking on a previous page where I've drawn what hit the dad, and I want to get correct how I've done his hair, and then of course, see that's a pullback on his hair side of his head, and then I want to get his glasses down. Yeah, I don't like them glasses, but we'll get to it. That's because the glasses start at the eyebrow, not the bottom of the eye. Okay, so, all right, so one of the things that I'm doing, okay, well, thank you for trying, Phil. Again, I'm more concerned that I appreciate your, interest in coming and joining in, but make sure that we get that internet stuff sorted out for your show. I know that that's a far greater concern right now. Please don't feel obligated to have to be on this here dooley-doo show. So Dad's got rims on his glasses going across. Bookwormish guy. He's got a single hooked ridge here, and his ear sits lower. So that's why you check against previous drawings that you've done of your characters, just to make sure that they're consistent. But we've got Dad in now, which I'm very happy about. You hope to feel? Oh, I'm going to... Hey! Hoping to start at 7 o'clock. That's super news. Oh, and that's just a very nice comment. Color pad for that page flows nicely. All the pages I draw tend to be in two tones. I have a principal, and then I have an outline color. And yeah, they tend to be, these kaleidoscopic colors are pretty pretty. And the combinations will be very random. But, I do that so that I can separate sections of the drawing, and it's sort of for myself really more so than it is for the actual finished image, because I convert that to black and you can't see it anyhow. Okay, so where was I? I've got Dad getting into the vehicle, and so what I want to do is I want to have the wheel in front, and I want to have him leaning. I want to have his hand on the wheel, right? Make the knuckles interesting. Thumb up, and then the dash is going to pop up here, spread across. So this is me quick laying in structure of the scene. And then let's see if I gotta have a big circle sucker. Big circle sucker. That's what I'm calling it. I have been having the hardest time with words right now. I just woke up Corbin. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, that'll be a wheel. That's Goodwill. Now, the other thing I have to do, now I'm lightly penciling in the wheel right now, but what I have to do is put in the grips. All the old cars in the 70s had grips. Also, steering wheels were very boring. Again, to the car purists that are watching this, that know what kind of car I'm drawing, they're going to say, bro, that is not what the interior blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to say, okay. I don't care. I just don't care. So, there we go. So this will be his thumb. This will be his knuckle. Here we go. Pull that hand around here. So interaction between these fingers. Space. just try to get a nice identifiable hand across that seems like it's legitimately in that environment. There we go. So here's Dad getting in the car. So I'm going to put a little bend to the front dash as I'm going to draw in, because the windows are so crazy and pushed forward. So I think that see, that's not the right angle for me. That's more like it. There we go. Little silly things like this, little molded plastic intakes, just gives some kind of sense of direction and movement inside that space. Silly, but there it is. Boom, ba boom. So I've got to remember, actually, before I get too caught up here, let me do this. This is a 1973 Ford Cortina, and it has big metallic windshield wipers on the front of it. So let's just get those suckers laid in. There we go. And then you can do this is the fun part, is that you can put cool shapes to show the sort of movement and shape in the design of the front of the car. Oh, Seven's by. Hi, Seven. Oh my goodness. Hey. Welcome aboard, Seven. And Seven has said, of course, hello to Phil. Phil's jumping in and out. He's sorting out some internet stuff. Getting ready for his Halloween show tonight to start at 7. So there we go, right up into the edge of our... So I'm going to run the other line across basically here, but I have to free line it because it's going to move down. And then let's put the rest of that metal bead, that little metal seal, up in here. And then we'll put, again, another fun line that follows the roof line. And the color helps with that, right? Right. And so let's fill out this. There we go. And we'll attach that seam. Happy, happy, happy. All right, now as far as I know, I have assumed that the Ford Cortina has a single front seat and a single back seat because for the purposes of my story, it does. Because that's how I drew it. But honestly, it may well be bucket seats. I don't know. The image that I have doesn't actually tell me. So, but what we do know for a fact is that behind Dad in the back seat of this car is Joanne. And so we're going to draw, at the very least, her silhouette. Something that says, hey, hey, there's a teenage girl in that back seat. My goodness. Let's get the edge on this panel so I know how far my lines need to go. There we go. Hey, that worked. Okay, so there we go. Again, let me think about. All right, well, I'll finish drawing in Dad. Now that I've got the structure laid in for here's Dad's shoulder. I'll put these lines here, separate those a little bit. Okay, so we've got his chin in. And then we've got his suit jacket on, and he has a tight collar cut. So we'll get that in there too. So I put his hairline in here. Just run it right up to the ear. What am I doing? Okay. Here we'll do Dad's shirt collar, Dad's suit collar. Get his ear in. And I had a nice clean cut collar on him. Here we go. And then I'm just going to gray this out. There we go. So there's Dad in the car. Now I got to put Joanne in the seat behind him. Oh, 7. Oh, that's very nice of you. Hey, get some coffee. Get some rest. Boy, oh boy, 7. All-nighters. Out of control. Now I'm going to put the lowered back roof. That's the start. And I'm going to run it at a wide angle like this. Right to the edge. Oh, that's a terrible angle. There we go. There we go. And then that'll come down into this wonderful angle here. And this is our back roof. So again, these are just, it's thinking about the car itself, trying to remember any time you spend in a car when you're trying to draw a sidecar. And if you can really allow yourself to actualize your visual memory, you should be able to start to remember things like some of these crazy details that might give your drawing a little more credibility. Now, we know that Joanne's going to be here. There we go. So referencing the previous images that we've drawn, 7 says that they want to conquer their goals, not just talk the talk, but walk the walk. There you go. Important to be objective oriented. What's the intent? What's the hopeful expectation of outcome? Whereas other people say it more directly, what's the intended outcome? Well, intentions. Jelly beans will get you a bag of jelly beans. Yum, 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 yum. All right, so now I'm just drawing in Joanne to the background. I'm going to put the other lip for the trim that's in the back window. Happy, happy. Okay. And then this is going to be shaded out as well. Yeah, I'm feeling good with this. It's tricky. You got to get you want to get your page to look like your full intention. I mean, you really want to make sure that you've got your characters in there drawn the way that, you're hoping for them to be seen as real people. Someone's got a big eyebrow. I got a big ass eyebrow. I have this weird habit of putting dots for eyes before I draw the face. And that helps me get closer to placement of parts of the face. Thin nose. There we go. It's a weird way to build a face, sure, but sometimes less lines is better. Drawing those lines up to the edge of Dad's head. And of course, we can follow him through a little more on this side. This feathered hair is very popular. There we go. So in this drawing, I've again tried to leave some space here and then space down here for the text. Crazy collars, crazy lapels in the 70s. There we go. So, fill in the rest of her hair. There we are. And then the city street scene doesn't really matter, but we can put some rough shapes in behind his head just to show that there's things in the world outside the car. And because you're informed in a previous panel that there's stuff across the street, you fill in the rest. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's the way to look at it, Seven, is to make sure you try to approach things like that. Okay, so I'm going to mess with the shape of the hood for a second here. And pull a line like this. Clean up those lines. Now, I need to go in with the red again. Oh, that's very nice, E7. I'm really glad to hear that you're making all the efforts, and I really like when I think it's very nice when people want to hear what I have to say about drawing and something I really want to help people out with. While I'm working in the studio, I'm doing whatever I'm doing. If it helps somebody else along the way, why wouldn't I do it? So this red line is to show that shape of the window. And then we can go farther than that and say, here's the hand as it's attached to the steering wheel. And then dash. And there's our steering wheel connecting to the dashboard. Keep that line there. And so as soon as we start to put in that darkening line, sorry for the angle, it starts to pull apart the image. Puts that in front of Joanne. And of course, we do the same thing with Joanne. In the back seat, separates her from the environment behind her. There we go. And then one last thing is to put in put that shadow in behind Joanne for the back seat. There we go. Okay, so that's another panel done. And we've hit the hour mark. So I think I'm going to call it for a little while. Come back in a bit. Just got to make sure I take breaks and keep an eye on the chicken and get stuff done around my house. Okay, so good. So the next part of this page is going to be, well, let me walk you through it. Okay. So the next part of this page is going to be taking what we've already got established here. Dad is pulling out in the driveway. He says, I just got a call from my employer. I got to go back to his place and take care of something. But or I just got a phone call from somebody. Maybe he won't be specific. None of that really matters. But what does matter is that there's got a car that's about to drive by behind them. As they're ready to pull out, and that car has a little girl in the back seat with her hand on the window. And this refers, at the page 12, refers back to what happened to Kimmy 6 pages ago. So that's our spooky element. So we'll be getting back into that as soon as I get back to drawing this page. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and please, by all means, keep working, keep creating. Thanks for tuning in. Try to catch a hold of Philip Chandler's show tonight, and watch that at 7 o'clock. He's going to be doing some fun stuff. Thanks for coming out, Phil. Thanks, Seven. Anybody else that did? By all means, if there's ever any questions or anything I can do to help anybody else out with drawing and doing pursuing their own agenda, let me know. Okay. Thanks for now. I'll talk to you in a bit. Bye.